Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the Morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. Today's Shiur is generously sponsored by anonymous Lil Nishmas Itam Bas Chanech Aaron. That through our learning, through the sponsorship, the bracha should come to everyone, and the neshama should have ultimate aliyah coming back down. So on this week's Shiur is Behaaloscha. Go to Sirchalik Base. This is actually when I had the idea to teach some those two sort of reasons that came together why to do it. One was I spoke to someone and he told me that Rebbe told him that is practical chassidus. Every chassid needs to know these. They're fundamental. They didn't know this. That was one. And the other thing was, I think it was last year. It was this week. I hadn't learned the Sikh in a while. I wasn't learning chassidus, but I hadn't learned the Sikh in a while. And even the morning shiur was normally a maimer. And it was Erev Shabbos, I think it was, or it was maybe Shabbos, and I was like, I need to have like a var. I want to connect with the Shabbos. And I pulled out the Sikha, and I started learning, and I was like, this is gold. It's amazing. And I was blown away by the Sikha, and I'm like, this is so cool. So when we started this program, trying to learn a Sikha every week, I'm like, I forgot where the Sikha was. When I started in Tishrei, I said, where is that Sikha? Where is that Sikha? So I said, Mr. Hashem, I'm going to come to it. And Baruch Hashem, we have. Just a quick story before we start, connected with this Sikha. So there's a very famous person. His name is Rebbe Lipska. And the story goes that he was so I read up a little bit about him, and he came from Russia, he moved to Eretz Yisrael, and he was very musically talented, and he had a knack for music. He learned how to play by ear. And when he came to Crown Heights to be by the Rebbe, and he was very interested in music, so he was in yeshiva, and then basically snuck in to learn music in college. So when the yeshiva found out about it, they were like, "This guy's out," and like, "Well, you can't go to you're going to college. Like, this is not happening." And they passed it, but I think every decision like this, heavy decisions, they went to the Rebbe. And I never said, I want to speak to him. I never said, I'm going to pay for you to go to the music school. And the end of, he was very successful, and he learned, and he taught music, and according to the article, he sort of set up the musical world that we have in many ways is really connected with him. He had a choir, and they'd go an evening with Lubavitch, and they'd drive around to different Chabad houses and teach music, and he was very much instrumental in a lot of the Jewish music and the Chabad music we have, like bringing it out to the forefront. And as we learn the Sikha, we'll understand why this is very important. This Sikha is very beautiful, as the title is, Share Your Light. So we're going to learn how Chassidus teaches us to share our light. Okay, Behaaloscha. The Haftarah, as Behaaloscha, Nema, in this week's Haftarah, it says, I saw V'hinei Meneras Zav Kula. And he says, and I saw the menorah of the menorah was of gold, totally pure, complete gold. And the menorah is really a representative of all the Jewish people. So we are all together, collectively, a menorah. Kol Yisrael Yachad, menorah Zav Kula. All the Yidden together, we are a golden menorah. So now, what does that mean? Let's understand what that means. The menorah had 7 branches. So too, there's different directions, ways of Yidden. As explained very clearly in Chassidus, so there's 7 different ways. There's 7 candles, 7 branches. So what we're saying is that just like we're saying the Yidden are like the menorah. Now in the menorah, the 7 branches, and the branches represent different different modes of operation, different ways we express ourselves, different ways we connect and we react, and then different ways we are. And what we're saying is the menorah There's not one light, one branch, and we all have to fit into that one mold. There's 7, and 7 is meant to be like, like all the different types. And we are all together collectively, that makes the menorah. And what the lesson is, what the Rebbe is saying, what Chassidus is teaching us, we have to recognize that I don't have to be like someone else. I have to be the best me. And like the story of Eli Lipsko, he had a talent in music, and the yeshiva was telling him, you got to not, I don't want you to express your talent. They weren't meaning it in bad, but they just thought this kid wants to go to college. It's not a safe place. And the Rebbe especially talked about how dangerous going to college is. So they said, what are you going to college at? But ultimately what they were doing was saying, there's only one branch, and that is you have to stick to this way, and you can't go the other way. What the Rebbe was saying, you have to be careful, but the Rebbe understood what was going on inside him, and the Rebbe said, no, this is your branch, and you're one of the 7, and we're all one of the 7, and your branch is not the one that is exclusively in yeshiva, but you have a talent for music, and you have to go to express yourself, so you can go to college and learn the music you need to learn to be able to express yourself. And this is what we're saying. This is what it's teaching us, that, especially, with our kids, I was telling I was going through this yesterday, and I was referring about it with my kids. And I say, look, we're 7 of us now. So we all take a different branch. And essentially what we're saying to our kids, saying, you don't have to be like your other kid. And we don't have to be like the other person. We don't have to compare ourselves to the other person. We don't have to try to be, and just because that person is, let's say, the best thing that you're like, Halavai was like that. But that's not your job. We have 7 branches. We have to be to find what's our branch and go and do that and find that. But so on one hand, we're all separate. We all have these different branches. We're all expressing ourselves in different ways. But I thought the Shavush of him, what's the common denominator? Shekulam neris. They were all candles, meaning the kulam meirim beis hamikdash. We all light up in the beis hamikdash. The einam mistapkim b'harasam beis hamikdash ella sha'ur b'keiyam beis hamikdash levadim kulei. And not just that we all have our branch, and not just the fact that we light it up in the Beis Hamikdash. The menorah is lit up in the Beis Hamikdash, but the purpose of the menorah in the Beis Hamikdash was to light up the outside. At the windows, naturally, generally, when we have windows, the purpose of the window is to bring the light from the outside inside the house. Whereas the windows in the Beis Hamikdash was the opposite. It was meant to take the light from inside the Beis Hamikdash outside. Not like all houses. That the rest of the houses, the purpose is take the windows and to bring them inside. The light from the outside inside. The Beis Hamikdash was opposite. The Beis Hamikdash, who are called Elam, it shined the whole world, and this is the whole purpose of the Beis Hamikdash. So and who caused the light of the Beis Hamikdash to spread out, to go outside into the whole world? Neris. They were the candles. And who are the Neris? Neshama Yisrael, the Yidden. So what we're saying is not just we don't have to fit into a specific mold. And all of us, with all our talents and all our styles and all our things, as long as it's coming from a good place, it's all part of the menorah. It's all expressing part of the menorah. And not just the expressing part of the menorah, it's something that has to be shed. That has to be shed out in the world. We have our gifts that Hashem has given us. We have to learn what they are. We have to express them. And this is what the Rebbe is saying, that we have that. And when you do that, you express the menorah. You're part of the golden menorah in the Mizbeach, in the Beis Hamikdash. Even though there's all these different types, like we said, with different branches, the different types of Yidden. Shekain, I'll call Yehudi, Lavai, that's Hashem, Bikishoinoisav Hu, that every year that's to serve Hashem with his talents. We have to recognize what's our talent and what's to serve Hashem with that talent. So it's not just we say, you know what, I fit in, I do Chitas, I do Rambam, I do my learning, and I make sure to do all the right things, and I'm the bucks. We have to recognize that there's something that we have to give that only we can give. And it's something special. It's our kishrenis, it's our talents. We have a talent, and everyone has a talent in something. And the Rebbe is saying we have to find out to recognize that talent, and not just to recognize the talent, we have to express it. And like it says, I wasn't created but to serve my master, meaning the whole purpose of me being created was to serve Hashem, and I can serve Hashem in this very special, specific way with this talent. Who Kishanesav Shchunon Behem Neitzu Kedei Lavadas Hashem B'Kishones Elu, and we were given these talents in order to serve Hashem with these talents. So to take away from those talents and ignore them and put them away, it's against why they were given to you. It's like a person that has money. They were given the money in order to give tzedakah. They can't say, "Oh, I don't want to do mitzvahs." That's what you're given. That's your talent. Your talent is you've been given blessed, have money, and so you give. Your talent is to play music. So you have to learn how to play music. You have to express that, and you have to learn how to serve Hashem with that music. Your talent is cooking. You have to learn how to serve Hashem with cooking. Your talent is being a teacher. You have to learn how to express Hashem in the teaching. Yeah. And again, what's the common denominator? We all shine. We're all part of the menorah. We all have what we have to shine. Such a beautiful idea. So we have to remind ourselves that we're part of the menorah, and we're a branch. We have our own branch. And what is that branch? And how do we come and express it? We have to recognize that you can't say, I'm not going to express it, because if you don't express it, then the menorah has 6 branches. You are one of the 7. So we have to recognize this and have all these branches. So and Rebbe says the difference is only if the 7 branches, you're going to say, oh, we're very different styles. So he's saying, no. And this is a very beautiful idea, that the difference is only the mode to the Avodah, the way we go to the Avodah. Avodah from Shel Elu, he v'kav chesed. Some people's Avodah is the kav chesed. Behesim, l'kishay nasav, v'chushim, sheniz baruch b'hem. They have chesed, and that's the talents that they were given. And then you have others that their talents were given was a way of a gevur. Which they're very strict, very disciplined. For some people, they're chesed and very kind and giving, and their whole mood of Abranis is very giving type. And others, it's a very, very strict and very disciplined and very organized. And you need both. Ubelasha in Shaldinim, language of strict judgment, but they're very, very organized and very set and very boundary oriented. That's their talent. That's how they have. That's what they have the specialty. That the way they approach during being a branch is through a way of gvura. But irrelevant of that, their purpose is shining. And this is, and they're saying it's a very beautiful idea. He's saying we all can come about from different places, but the whole intent is the same. And the intent is, I have something to give. I have something to shine. I am a menorah. I'm a branch of the menorah, and I have to shine that into the world. And we have to, and so someone comes and says, oh, I'm a nobody, or I'm nothing. So first we have to realize, no. It says in the Haftarah, this week's parasha, that you are part of the menorah. And just like the menorah has 7 branches, there's 7 different types. And we have our personality and our type and our talents. And our job is to come and find what that is and see how we can express it. It's not enough just to find it. We have to learn how to express it. And then this is very empowering. It's a very powerful message. Even though the goal is equal by everyone, nevertheless, I have the God of bein derech kav hagvuris lebein derech shehi lechatchil kav chasadim. It's very different, the approach to get them, from the approach of chesed, whereas the approach is coming from gvura. Chesed and gvura are very diametrically opposite to each other. So you look at it like, oh, we're coming from different places. Shaz ein tzarech legashash legashash. Amatara niras le'ein miyad shekein gam begilui zed derech shel avterech mecha. Ultimately, it's all expressed, even though you see it from a chesed point and you see it from a gvura point, and you look at them and you're like, wow, that's 2 different people. One guy, one person is miftzayim, let's say. One girl is very good at miftzayim and getting people to light Shabbos candles. And one girl, it's like the worst thing in the world for her. I can never do that. I want to speak to anyone. I wish I stay in my room and stay private. But they're very good at organizing the miftzayim, let's say, and organizing whatever you need, the packages, or could be they're very good at speaking one-on-one with people. So that person doesn't need to go and do miftayim necessarily. You could argue maybe you should try, but if they realize their talent is, let's say, talking one-on-one with someone, so that's what they should be doing. And some reason their talent is going miftayim, they should realize that's what they should be doing. And so everyone has to recognize and to work, and the avodah is that we have to work to find what is that talent, what is that specialness. Hopefully we already know what it is. And then we just ask ourselves, how can we express this? And you could also connect this, don't say this in the sikha, but connect this with Hakel. Hakel is meant to be coming together and adding in term mitzvahs and Yiras Hashem. So you have to recognize how you can take your talent to help people and help yourself have more Yiras Hashem. Mitzvah Hashem, by all of us, we should recognize all those talents. And if we ever come and say to ourselves, oh, Chassidus is telling me I'm a nobody, it's true. But the nobody we're talking about is nobody else but Hashem. And we have to realize, like we're saying here, that we all have a talent, and we have to recognize what that talent is and find it and express it. And Mitzvah Hashem, all of us should have an amazing day.